I have been fixing cars for 22 years. I have seen the engine of a $12,000 car. I have seen the engine of a $120,000 car. And I am going to tell you something straight. No dealership, no car salesperson, and no car magazine will ever say this. There is a group of European SUVs I and most mechanics I know would never buy. We would never spend our own money on them. Not because they are not beautiful, not because they are not fast, but because we see what is inside those cars every single day. And what we see makes us cringe. Today I am going to show you exactly what that is. Let's start with a very familiar picture. A 3-year-old BMW X5 or Range Rover Sport. Around 35,000 miles on it, listed for $52,000. That car rolled off the lot brand new at $87,000. You think you just found a great deal. You saved $35,000 compared to the first buyer. That is how you see this. Here is how I see this. That car just came off the manufacturer's warranty. The first owner paid for coverage throughout all 3 of those years. From the day you drive it off that lot, every repair comes out of your pocket. And with these vehicles, that number climbs fast. We are talking $15,000 in just the first 18 months. Sometimes that number hits $20,000 within 18 months. I am not talking about rare exceptions. I am talking about things that happen on a very predictable schedule. And that schedule starts with plastic. Let's talk specifics about the engine. We will use the BMW N63 V8 as our example. You find this engine in the X5 xDrive 50i, X6 xDrive 50i, and 7 series. It covers models from roughly 2009 to 2018. It is also one of the engines I see in my shop most often. I am not happy saying that. The problem is not that this engine is technically weak. Technically, the N63 is an impressive piece of machinery. The problem is what BMW decided to put around it. In a luxury SUV, engine bay temps normally run 195 to 220. That is in degrees Fahrenheit under normal operating conditions. The N63 uses a hot V configuration. That means the 2 turbos sit inside the V of the engine rather than outside it. This gives the car sharper throttle response, but it creates a serious heat problem. Inside the N63 bay, temps can reach 250 to 270 degrees Fahrenheit. That happens under sustained high-speed driving or when towing. BMW chose to use plastic for this engine's cooling system. Not a little plastic, a lot of plastic. The water pump housing is plastic. The thermostat housing is plastic. The coolant line connectors are plastic. All of it made from high-temperature glass-filled nylon composite. On paper, this plastic tolerates up to 250 to 265 Fahrenheit. The problem is that on paper and in reality are 2 completely different things. Here is what you need to understand about heat-resistant plastic composites. When they are repeatedly heated and cooled over many years, something happens. The technical name is thermal cycling. Each start pushes bay temps up to 220 to 260 degrees Fahrenheit. Every time you shut it off, it drops back down. Each cycle creates small mechanical stress in the plastic's molecular structure. After 50,000 miles, microscopic cracks begin to form. After 80,000 miles, more so. The plastic starts to become brittle. And one day, a cold morning or a long drive, the water pump housing cracks, or the thermostat housing does. Coolant leaks out. The engine overheats within minutes. If you do not stop in time, you get a warped head or a cracked engine block. That repair runs $1,800 to $2,800 with labor. If it leads to a warped head, $8,000 to $14,000. If the block cracks, that is a full engine replacement. For the N63, That means $18,000 to $24,000. BMW even released an internal fix for the N63 in 2014. They called it the Customer Care Package. They acknowledged the engine had issues with oil consumption and cooling, but it only applied to vehicles still under warranty. That X5 you bought for $52,000 is no longer covered. BMW is not the only case. Let's talk about Range Rover. Both the Range Rover Sport and full-size Range Rover use air suspension. That means air struts instead of traditional steel springs. The system is incredibly smooth, very impressive when you are inside the car. But here is what it involves: 4 rubber air struts, an electric air compressor, pressurized air distribution valves, and a whole network of electronic sensors managing the entire system. In practice, a Range Rover air strut lasts 60 to 100,000 miles. That figure comes from independent repair shop data across the US. Sometimes it is less if the vehicle regularly runs on rough roads. One OEM Land Rover air strut runs $600 to $900 in parts. Add $400 to $600 in labor. Multiply that by 4 wheels. That is $4,000 to $6,000 just to fix the suspension. The air compressor is also a very common failure point. When it dies, it usually does not go gradually. One morning you walk out and the car is sitting low to the ground. There is no longer enough air pressure to hold it at normal ride height. Compressor replacement runs $800 to $1,400. That is parts only. Labor is not included. RepairPal tracks vehicle repair costs across the US. Their data shows the average annual repair cost for the Range Rover Sport. That figure sits at around $1,258. The segment average for SUVs is $573 per year. For reliability, it ranks 13th out of 14 luxury SUVs in its segment. Those numbers do not come from some internet forum. They come from tens of thousands of real repair invoices. A friend of mine, Marcus, has been a European car mechanic for 18 years, mostly BMW and Mercedes. He knows these vehicles inside and out, and he drives a 2019 Toyota Tundra. I asked him why. He said, "Because I see the repair bills from those owners every single day. I have no interest in being the one paying those bills." Here is what most car buyers do not understand. The book value of a car and its true total cost of ownership are very different. You can buy a used BMW X5 for $48,000. You might think you are getting a luxury vehicle at a mid-range price. But consider the next 5 years. Say you spend an extra $22,000 on repairs over 5 years. That is entirely possible with an out-of-warranty European car. Your actual total cost becomes $70,000, not $48,000. And I have not even factored in the time you lose. When your car is in the shop, life does not pause. You still have to get to work. You still have to take your kids to school. You rent a car, or you rely on someone else. That time has value. That inconvenience has value. None of it ever shows up in a car comparison spreadsheet. Let's put 2 vehicles side by side. The 2021 BMW X5 xDrive 50i. Brand new. Around $83,000. After 3 years and 36,000 miles. KBB puts the 3-year value at $46,000 to $50,000. That is roughly 40% depreciation in 3 years. And the manufacturer warranty expires after year 3. The 2023 Lexus LX 600, brand new, around $92,000. After 3 years and 36,000 miles, both KBB and IC cars agree. The value sits at $68,000 to $72,000. That is roughly 22 to 24% depreciation in 3 years. Lexus also comes with a 4-year or 50,000-mile basic warranty, plus a 6-year or 70,000-mile powertrain warranty. But the number that matters more is the repair cost after the warranty ends. RepairPal ranks Lexus as the most reliable brand tracked in the United States. Their average annual repair cost is $551. That is lower than the industry average. The Lexus LX is built on the mechanical platform of the Toyota Land Cruiser. That platform has been proven over more than 70 years. Millions of vehicles worldwide have run on it, including some of the harshest operating environments on the planet. The cooling system on the Lexus LX 600, mostly cast aluminum and steel, not plastic, sitting next to a high-temperature V8 engine. After 22 years in this business, here are the rules I live by. I apply them for myself and for any family member who asks about buying a car. Rule number 1. If you want to drive a European car, lease it. Do not buy it. Lease a BMW or Mercedes for 24 to 36 months. Drive it while it is still under warranty, then hand it back. You get to experience the latest technology. You do not carry the repair costs after the warranty ends. Those risks belong to the leasing company or the next used car buyer, not you. Rule number 2. If you want to buy and hold long-term, buy Japanese, 7 years, 10 years, Lexus or Toyota. Pay cash if you can. The Lexus LX 600's total 10-year ownership cost will be significantly lower. That holds true even against a BMW X5 or Range Rover in the same segment. Rule number 3. Never buy a European car that just came off warranty. Not unless you have a reliable mechanic, maybe yourself, to inspect it first. And you need to be ready for what is coming. These are not opinions about aesthetics. These are simple financial rules based on what I see in my shop every day. So you have 2 options. You can buy that 3-year-old BMW X5 or Range Rover Sport for $50,000. You feel like you are getting a luxury vehicle at a reasonable price, and you find out those numbers I laid out on your own. Or you can take 10 to 15 minutes right now. Calculate the true total cost of ownership for the vehicle you are looking at. Not just the purchase price. Factor in maintenance, expected repairs, and resale value after 5 years. If you found this video useful, leave a comment below. Are you leaning toward a European or Japanese vehicle for your next purchase? And what is your reason? I read every comment.